reason why you are feeling more confused, more disappointed, more negative emotions over more fulfilling and happier emotions is because you are disconnected from yourself. When you're disconnected from yourself, you are outsourcing your power to various relationships, whether that be romantic or platonic. You are potentially engaging in things that disconnect you from yourself. So, being dependent on alcohol, or you are being dependent on food and overeating. And this keeps you in a cycle where you are constantly disconnected from yourself. The only way you are going to be able to climb out of feeling confused or disappointed or sad majority of the time is by getting to know yourself on a deeper level. And the reason why I say this is because I have been there. I used to be the one that used to be confused all the time because my relationships would reflect back to me things that would disappoint me or confuse me because I thought I was being a good person, but then I was being reflected back that I wasn't being a good person, and that confused me because I didn't truly know who I was. I just tried to make other people happy, which then made me happy, instead of thinking, what actually makes me happy? What lights me up? What do I enjoy doing? And so it wasn't until I actually started spending time with myself did I start to understand who I am, what I needed, and therefore started changing my emotional or state of being to a more positive and happier state of being. So this took time. It took a very long time, and that's only because I was very far away from myself. I think the biggest thing is we aren't taught who we are. We just and what this whole reality is about. All we're taught is go out there and do your best. And so of course, if no one's telling you that you need to build this relationship with yourself, and therefore that is going to be the key that makes you not even happiest most of the time, but just living a life of purpose and fulfillment, because being happy all the time isn't actually realistic. We can't be happy all the time. And so when we aren't told, go out into the world and learn who you are, and then once you learn who you are, then you are going to live this deeply fulfilling life, and no matter what comes your way, you'll be able to get through it and feel fulfilled no matter what, and know that there will always, well, touch wood, be another day. So when you're not told that, you kind of go through life, and what happens is these experiences happen outside of us, and we internalize them and make them mean something about us. And once that happens, especially at such a young age, it then starts to overflow throughout the course of our life. And once it overflows over the course of our life, these wounds can be quite deep, and they start to repeat in different kind of relationships and scenarios and opportunities and work environments. And you start to think to yourself, why me? Why do I have to go through this? But it's just because, again, you weren't taught that this is the reality, and those experiences that happened to you at a young age are now playing out in a different form later on. And now it is your time to again understand yourself on a deeper level, so that then you can go and heal those wounds, and therefore they won't keep playing out in your reality. Now, the process, it's not always the most joyful and exciting, but I'm telling you now, it is the most rewarding. I myself have just gone through this, and it took me a few years, as I said, to heal. However, once you have that solid foundation of knowing yourself, then you'll be able to take whatever comes your way and take it with a stride and know that it is leading you to bigger and greater things, and you can start actually deciding what you want and going for what you want and getting what you want. When you don't know who you are and you set out to get these things that you want, you get to that point and you're like, hang on, this isn't fulfilling me. Why don't I feel happy right now? Like, I finally got that thing that I always wanted. And because you probably didn't actually want that thing. You just thought that you needed that thing to feel a certain way. But maybe it was actually what your parents wanted. Maybe it was what society wanted. Maybe it was what your friendship group wanted. And so the only way to actually understand like what you truly want is by getting to know yourself. However, you can keep going after those things that you think you want, but it's just going to keep this hole within inside you growing louder and louder and louder, and the more that you try and fill it with different various types of things, you know, those things might work for a while. They probably will, but that hole won't go away. It'll go away temporarily. It's like putting a bandage on it, but a bandage can't fix that type of wound. So you might keep filling it with those bandages, and they might work for a certain period of time, but then again, it'll keep growing and it'll always come back. And you'll always go back to that confusing feeling of like something is missing, something's not quite right. Like, what is it? Like, I've been trying to do all the things, and the only antidote for all of that is to understand who you are and what you need and who you truly are deep down within inside of you. And then once you understand that, you will be able to get past these things and start choosing things that are deeply aligned with who you are. And you will understand that no matter what comes your way, you will be able to handle it, because you know that great things are coming for you, because you know yourself deeply. And no matter what, you've got you. Nothing can deter you. So the process of getting to know yourself may take some time. And it's about spending time with yourself. So if you were a codependent like me, I used to hate spending time by myself. Like, I used to hate spending time alone. But I have learned to love it, and I actually sometimes prefer it. And you need to spend time with yourself to understand, you know, where you're at in terms of like the way that you react to things, your patterns, who you're being around certain people, what actually is reflecting back your worth, what is not, what makes you feel good, what does not make you feel good, how do you manage your emotions. All of these questions, you need to start asking yourself, like, why am I the way I am? And the way we do that is through, I really recommend meditation. It's very, very helpful. Even just sitting down and listening to some binaural frequency music and just letting your thoughts do their thing, and then hopefully getting to a place where you can just listen to the music and try and focus on that space. But if thoughts come up, meditation isn't just sitting there and having nothing going on. It's just sitting there and watching your thoughts go by. It's not attaching meaning to them or anything like that. Or even if thoughts come up and meaning does come up from them, it's just kind of like going, okay, I see that. And then as soon as you remember, oh, I meant to be back in meditation, it's like letting them drift away. And sometimes imagery can help. If you think of like your thoughts as like a cloud floating by, or like your thoughts floating down a stream, that can kind of help them float away and then coming back to center. And it takes time and it takes practice. It's like anything in life. You need to practice things over and over to actually get good at them. Don't expect to be a natural straight away. I feel like a lot of people try meditation, they're like, no, I'm not good at it. Well, no one's really good at it to start with. It's about taking your time with it. So meditation is really important. A great tool I would recommend. However, if that's not for you, I also loved journaling. I don't fill up journals as much as what I used to, but I have filled copious amounts of journals, and it actually astounds me every time I put pen to paper. Always the things that come through, I'm like, I know things. I'm not that bad. And so yeah, journaling can really help. Even like, again, journaling can take time as well, like to understand how to journal. But again, like, you don't have to be an expert at it. You literally just need to sit down, put your journal in front of you, put your pen to paper, and just start writing. Even if you just do a brain dump at the end of every day, like, that really does help you. And I feel like I forgot about this, it just came to my mind, but I remember my thoughts just go round and round in circles. And so when I started journaling, I noticed how much that was really helping me, like sitting down and journaling out my thoughts instead of like it ruminating round and round in my mind for like days and days and days. If I sat down and actually put the pen to paper and saw that thought pattern out clearly and actually thought it out clearly on paper, it helped me realize what the point of what I was trying to get to, instead of going round and round in circles and never getting to some point, just going round and round. So journaling can be really helpful for that. And then trying to find what lights you up. So I'm not preaching hyper-independence, because that's not effective. However, I do think it is important to spend time with yourself alone for just a little bit, just to kind of understand like your new baseline. Like, well, not even your new baseline, because not everyone might not be at the point that I was at, but like I didn't know what my actual baseline was. Like, I couldn't tell what relationships were draining me and what relationships were filling my cup, because I was so far away from myself. My nervous system was constantly dysregulated, so much so that I got into burnout. So I ended up having to spend time with myself to understand my baseline. And then when I got out back into the world, I could understand what relationships were filling my cup and what wasn't. And I am now extremely protective of my energy, and I only spend time on relationships that really do fill me up. And I think that's something really important. I think removing yourself from the external world can be extremely nourishing and helpful to understand who you truly are at a calm, regulated nervous system. And then you can come back out and start choosing things that choose you. Because if you don't remove if you don't remove that noise, then how are you ever going to know? Relationships are very important to me in my life, and connection is very important to me. So yeah, having that period where I was able to rebalance myself was really important. And as soon as I am like even just chatting to someone that is not aligned with me, like I can just tell instantly, and I set boundaries as soon as I can to try and remove that kind of energy in my life, because it's so draining. And yes, and then just choosing what lights you up. Like, do you enjoy listening to music? Do you enjoy going for long walks? Do you enjoy going to the gym? Do you enjoy making nourishing meals? Do you enjoy expressing yourself with different clothes and makeup? Or do you enjoy dancing? Or like, what are those things like that help you feel more you? And it's about feeling like what really does lift you up and make you feel more yourself, because that is going to give you a big inclination as to who you are. And once you can find those things that fill up your cup, if anything leaves you within your life, you know what goes and fills up your cup, so you can go and do those things and rely on yourself to give those things to yourself and lift your mood and who you are. So yeah, that's my tips if you are in that period of your life where you're just constantly feeling more negative emotions opposed to happy emotions. I know how it feels, it's not a fun place to be, but there is a way out, and it is honestly just building the relationship with yourself.